Computer, sorry. All right. Good evening, ladies. It is 5 o'clock, a little after, so we are going to get started in child pose. Actually, no, we're going to get started first. I forgot. In seated on your mat. We're going to get started in seated on our mat, and we're going to get started with a breathing exercise tonight, which is something that we don't normally do, but I've been doing some research on alternate nostril breathing, which is something that you probably have all practiced once or twice before in other yoga classes. But it's, I was just reminded today of what great benefits it has for us. So it increases the oxygen to the brain, obviously, but it also immediately reduces our blood pressure and reduces anxiety and increases our focus. So I thought we'd start out with class today, just in simple seated. If you have your good leg in front, cross and put the weird leg in front, okay? Just to give yourself some balance. And then bring your hands to your knees, and we're just going to start by just taking in a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. So alternate nostril breathing. What you're going to do is you're going to take your index or your ring finger and your pinky finger, and you're going to glue them together. You're going to bend your middle finger and your pointer finger down and stick your thumb out. So almost like you've got that, hang 10 kind of thing going on. So we're going to actually use the tip of the thumb and then the side of the ring finger to plug the nose, okay? So you guys are all on mute. I won't hear if it's, gross or anything. If you have a tissue nearby, you might need it. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna close one nostril, take a big breath in through the nostril. Open it, close it, and then breathe it out through the other side. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 times together. So 3 full rounds, but we're going to have to go in and out, in and out. Each one of those is 1 whole round. So we're going to go forward, backward, backward, forward, okay? And then back again. Got it? All right, here we go. So setting up your fingers first. Ring finger and the pinky are glued together. We're going to plug the nose with the thumb. Big breath in. Hold at the top and let it out. Back in. Hold at the top. Close the other side and let it out. Again, in. And then release the hand, shake it out, and return the breathing to normal. So take a moment to just lay your hands on your knees, shut down the eyes, and just check in with yourself and see how you're feeling after that breath. See if it actually made a difference in the way your body feels right now. And then opening the eyes back up. Now we're going to make our way into that child's pose that I promised. So coming to all fours. Finding a child's pose that feels best in your body this evening. So maybe you keep your knees together and allow your chest to lay on top, okay? Maybe you wrap your arms around. Maybe you bring your knees out wide, okay? Find what feels good in your body this evening for child's pose and go there. Focus your attention on your breath. And then walking the fingertips out to the side, to the right side, and taking that left hand and putting your left hand on top of your right hand. Finding that stretch through the left side of the body, the armpit, the shoulder, the hips. And just allowing the body to melt as much as possible. Coming back through center and straight over to the other side. Coming back through center, coming up onto all fours, walking the knees slightly in. If your knees are out in that wide position, you want them back underneath the hip bones. And then we're going to walk our hands out. Some call this puppy pose. I call this head to heart, head and heart pose. And ideally we want our forehead and we're trying to lower our heart both to the ground, okay? So stretching the arms out, maybe allowing that forehead to come down, and then pressing through the heart, allowing gravity to take its course, pulling the chest down towards the ground. Sliding forward all the way to your belly. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose, we want our shoulders and our elbows in that straight line. Hands are going to come straight out in front. We're going to take the tops of those feet. I want you to lift them up and turn your foot in. Internally rotate the leg and then set it back down. Lift it up, internally rotate it, set it back down. Okay? So pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, And pressing the hands, the forearms, and the elbows into the mat. Pulling the heart through, maybe taking the gaze slightly up, not very far. Nice deep breaths here, opening up through the front of the heart. And then lowering down, coming to crocodile. So laying the forearms one on top of each other. Forehead comes to the hands. Great job, ladies. So now we're going to come into that shoulder roll. So I want you to take your hand and you're going to lay it straight out. Both arms actually straight out, okay? Both arms straight out in the T. And we're going to roll our body towards our right shoulder. Maybe bringing the foot behind us, setting it on the ground. Pressing that left hand into the ground on the side, finding a little leverage there. Breathing into that really, really deep shoulder stretch. And then rolling back through center, we're going to come into that on the other side. I'm super close to the wall, so I'm going to move back a little bit. So bringing that arm straight out from the shoulder, placing the hand palm facing the ground. I'm going to lay my cheek on the ground, and then I am going to press my way into the side lying serpent. Breathing into the stretch. Rolling back through center. Coming up into tabletop position. So we're going to do a toe stretch here. This one's really deep, stretching the bottoms of our feet. So I want you to curl your toes under as much as you possibly can. And then I want you to play with sinking the weight of the hips back towards the toes, okay? So find your edge here. You might be right here, and that's totally fine, okay? You wear a lot of high heels. This can be really, really intense stretch. It's also very, very needed. If you really want to intensify the stretch, you can take your little finger and stick it underneath your pinky and pull your pinky straight. Oh yeah, feel that, girls. Ooh! Stretchy stretch. I don't know, that pinky moved like literally centimeters, but it makes all the difference, that little pinky toe. So finding your stretch there, leaning back into it, but being easy on yourself. Nice deep breathing into the bottom of the feet. And then coming forward back into our tabletop position, taking those feet and tapping them out on the mat. And then coming into our cat-cow stretch. So we're going to warm up our spine, checking in first with your tabletop position and making sure that the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders are aligned, as well as the hips and the knees, okay? So taking that cat-cow, we're gonna match our movement with our breath, taking a big breath in, arching the back, dropping the belly, and then big breath out as we round the back, pulling that belly button in towards the spine. Moving with your breath here. And this is your practice, so I invite you to also find any movement in this cat-cow, moving from side to side, whatever it is, stretching back and forth. Find your own movement, make this practice yours. Few more breaths here. Warming up the spine. And then finding your last one and making it to a neutral spine. We're going to take that right leg behind us, stretch it back, point the toe, hold that foot up for just a moment. Feel that glute flexing. Can you feel that glute turning on? Now we're going to bring that knee all the way into the nose. I want you to see if you can cross your legs over. Perfect. Okay. Now bring your feet out wide on the mat. We're going to roll back into Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So you've got both feet out on the sides. I'm going to turn so you can see me. Both feet out on the sides. We've got our knees stacked as much as possible. This pose is really, really great for some and really, really difficult for others. Okay, so find your edge, what feels best in your body, and breathe into it. We're going to take a few breaths here, just with a straight spine. And then we're going to twist and look towards this side, okay? So taking that left hand, bringing it to the right knee, turning and looking towards the side. Counter twisting, coming back, and then leaning slightly towards that right foot. And then unwinding. We're going to cross back over our Gomukhasana legs here, back over our knees. And then come to a supported side plank. So you're going to extend that left foot back out. Right foot is going to come down in front of you. Reaching the arm up to the sky first, and then extending that arm all the way. Elbow towards the ear. Pressing into the outside edge of the left foot. Pressing into the right foot, lifting through the hips. And then feeling that energy from the left heel all the way through the right fingertips. Lowering down out of that supported side plank. And then going back into our plank, lowering all the way to your belly. Bringing the hands next to the ribs and pushing up into a low cobra. Excellent. Lowering back down, pushing back into a downward facing dog. And then lowering back down into our tabletop position. Left leg comes behind you now, pointing that toe, lifting through the glute, breathing into the stretch and the strengthening, and then bringing that knee towards the nose. We're going to wrap it through onto the other side of the right leg. Take the feet out wide on the mat and roll back into Gomukhasana. So again, we have stacked our knees. Our feet are out to the side. Sitting up nice and straight. If this feels good for you and you want to try to lean forward over the legs, you are welcome to. I have found my edge and I am going to breathe into it, and I invite you to do the same. Bringing the right hand to the outside of the left knee. We're going to bring that left hand behind us, turning, looking towards the side. Keep breathing into the twist. Untwisting, counter twisting the opposite way, and even I like to lean into that a little bit. Feels so good. And then coming up, we're going to roll over our knees into that supported plank pose again. This foot is going to be anchored down in front of us, okay? So here we go. We're stretching our right leg back this time. And finding our way into that supported plank. Reaching the fingers, pressing into the left foot and lifting the hips higher. Lowering your hands back down to the ground, we're going to come into seated into a butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together, feet, knees out wide, taking a moment to take your breath here. And if you'd like, I invite you to fold forward. So try and keep a nice straight back, hinging from the hips. Breathing deep and then allowing the upper body to become heavy and fold over. Walking the hands back up, bringing those knees in together with the hands, and then stretching the feet out long in front of you, pose of the staff. Sitting up nice and tall. And then we're going to come into boat pose. So boat pose, from pose of the staff, we're going to bend our knees. Bring our feet to the mat. Bring your hands underneath and then lean back into your boat. And then raise your legs. So we want to keep the integrity in the back. We don't want to look like this, okay? So keep that integrity in the back. Keep the back nice and flat. And from there, build on your boat, okay? So from here, I'm still keeping my back straight. I'm going to maybe try to let go of one leg. As soon as I start to lose that curve, that straightness in my back, though, I'm going to back off, okay? And I know right now, if I try to straighten my legs, I'm going to lose it, okay? So knowing where your body limit is and how this is going to make you feel in your body. We're trying to strengthen, not strain, right? Excellent job. Roll over your feet, press the hands into the mat, and step back to downward facing dog. Taking a moment to find some freedom in your downward dog. So I like to press my fingertips into the mat here. Really, really press them in so that I get a cave underneath of my palm, okay? That helps protect our wrists and just takes a lot of the strain out of the wrists. And I like to bend my knees a lot and send my hips all the way up to the sky. Then once I've got that length in my spine from my head and my fingertips really all the way to my tailbone, then I start straightening my legs one at a time. Breathing into the stretch. Finding stillness in your down dog now. Taking a big breath in. Open your mouth and let it go. Big breath in. Step the right foot forward in between the hands for runner's lunge. So fingertips are down on the mat. I'm going to place my left hand down and lift my right arm up for a twist. Lowering both hands down on either side of the foot. Lower that left knee to the mat, and we're going to come up into a low lunge. So from here, you can't see my wrists, but from here, I want you to work on, we're going to take hold of our left wrist, or right wrist, and gently pull over to the side. Excellent job. Coming back through center, bringing the hands down on either side of the knee. And then we're going to slide this front foot forward and come into half splits. So half splits, I want my toes of my right foot flexing towards my face. The more I flex my feet towards my face, the harder my muscles are stretched, the more they're stretched in the back, okay? So taking your time, this is also a great place for blocks. So if you have them and are using them, that's awesome. You can put blocks underneath of your hands and breathing into that stretch. So we want to make sure that our left hip is not jutting back, but we've got our right hip and our left hip in line with one another. And we're breathing into the back of that leg. Checking in with anywhere else that feels tense and tight, seeing if we're trying to create this pose in our jaw or somehow in our head or our neck somehow, and letting all that go. Keep bringing yourself back to the breath. Rocking forward. We're going to bring that left foot to meet the right in a forward fold. Keeping the knees bent here as much as you need to. Halfway lift and fold. Chair pose and fold. Halfway lift and fold. Right foot goes back. Ha! Right foot goes back into our runner's lunge. So we're starting here. I always like to do runner's lunge on my fingertips, okay? So starting here in our runner's lunge, nice strong base in the legs, and then taking that right hand, setting it down on the ground, lifting the left arm up to the sky for a twist. Lowering the hand down on either side. We're going to rise up into that low lunge. So bringing that back knee to the ground, rising up. And then we're going to grab the left wrist this time, reaching over to the side, opening up through that armpit. Coming back through center, bringing both hands down on either side of the left foot, sliding that left foot forward, and then flexing our toes, coming in to that half splits. Adjusting your hands or putting your hands under blocks or blocks under your hands if needed. Adjusting your hips. Every single time I find myself pushing that one hip back, push it back, push it back. Okay, so try to bring that hip up, bring it forward. You want it parallel to the top of your mat. Taking the pose out of the jaw. And then once again, we're going to rock forward, bring that right foot all the way to meet the left in forward fold, halfway lift and fold. Rise to chair and fold. Halfway lift and fold. Right foot back, take your twist. Drop the hand, left foot back to plank. Lower all the way to the belly. Bring the hands down by the rib cage. Push up into Cobra. Lower back down through tabletop or plank pose. Coming back into downward facing dog. Right foot forward this time. Left hand down. Open twist. Lower the knee, low lunge, lifting up, side stretch again, okay? So we're taking the left fingertips on the right wrist and we're pulling over towards the center. Over towards the left, I mean. Releasing, scooching that right foot forward, coming into half splits. Once again, breathing into the back of that leg. And then coming forward, we're going to step that left foot to meet the right and forward fold. Taking a moment to bend the knees and hang in a ragdoll. Halfway lift, flatten the back and fold. Rise to chair and fold. Halfway lift and fold. Left foot back, right hand or left hand down, Come up into your twist. Right hand down, right foot back to meet left. Plank pose. Lower all the way to the belly. Come up into Cobra. Pinning those elbows into the back. Pressing back through plank pose into downward dog, or through the knees into tabletop. And then left foot forward for a twist. Reaching up. Dropping that back knee. And coming into our low lunge. And finding the side stretch here. So grabbing the right wrist or the left wrist with the right fingertips. Lowering down opposite sides of the foot, and then sliding that left foot forward, coming into our half splits once again. So lifting back or leveling through the hips, and then flexing those left toes toward the face. Coming back forward. This time we're going to step our left foot back to meet our right. Into a plank pose. Through your vinyasa or straight back to downward dog, yogi's choice. Okay, so high plank to low. Or knees, chest, chin. Upward facing. Back to downward. Left foot forward, warrior one. Rise up. From here, we're going to come forward into warrior three, our balancing posture of the class, okay? So lifting off through that back foot. I like to bring my hands to prayer pose just to get myself balanced, bring my center of balance in. So we're going to balance through that left foot. Keep a micro bend in that leg. Bringing the right foot up behind you. Keeping the hips squared with the mat. Leaning forward. Maybe bringing the arms out. Challenging yourself, and if you fall out, you come right back in, no big deal. And then bringing your hands down to the mat, coming into half splits, letting that leg come all the way up, and then dropping it back down, finding your forward fold, ragdoll, rising up halfway, and fold. Rise all the way up, hands to the heart, rising up, and fold. Halfway lift, and fold. Step it back, high to low, upward, back to downward. Right foot comes forward into warrior one. So finding your warrior one first. Finding that length through the legs. Nice bend in the front knee, pressing in through the back foot. If you need to adjust and give yourself a little more space in between the legs here. And then we're going to lift off into our warrior three. So bringing your hands down to your heart, if that helped you to balance last time. And then lifting off through the toes. Lifting the back leg. Maybe reaching the arms out, challenging yourself. And then bringing the hands down to the ground, standing splits. Lowering the left foot to meet the right. Halfway lift. Unfold. Last time, all the way up. And fold. Find your way to your seat. We're going to come into a seated forward fold. So, bringing your feet out in front, finding that little bend in your legs, okay? There's a natural bend there, so don't try to like straighten it out. Finding that little bend in your legs, but allowing your feet to come forward towards your face. So if forward fold is really, really difficult for you, I really want you to just focus on hinging from the hips, okay? Even if that means that you have to bend your knees a lot, okay? So hinge from the hips and allow your chest to come towards your legs, okay? And then once we achieve that, the chest towards the legs, then we can let our whole body fall forward, maybe grabbing for the shins, the ankles, the toes, the heels, wherever. Breathing into the stretch. Coming back up, bringing your knee into the chest and then allowing it to fall out to the side. We're going to do head to knee pose. So bringing your torso should be almost facing your leg, okay? And then walking the hands out, same thing, we're hinging from that hip. So you should feel that belly almost immediately touch the leg, okay? So we're hinging from that hip, reaching out, and then allowing the head to be heavy. Coming back up, taking the right hand to the outside of the ankle or to the outside of the foot, and then finding a twist here. Coming back up through center. Bringing that knee back into the chest, straightening it back out. Other side. So we're going to bring this knee into the chest. Allow it to fall out to the side, head to knee. We are going to bring the upper body so that it's starting to rest on that thigh, bending the leg if we need to here. That's totally cool. And then allowing that head to float down towards the knee. Coming back up, finding that twist. So taking the left hand to the outside of the calf or the ankle or the heel, or the foot if you can grab it, okay? And then bringing that opposite hand behind you. Big breath in. And twisting. See if you can twist a little bit deeper. Excellent job, ladies. Coming back through center, unwinding. Stretching both legs out, scooting your bottom forward a little bit, and then rolling down to your back. We're going to come into a quick bridge here before releasing into our final resting poses. So walking those heels all the way in towards the buttocks, you want to be able to reach down with your fingertips and brush your heels with them. And then I like to place my hands facing up to start with, lifting up through the hips, and then maybe taking the fingers and interlacing them underneath, stretching through the shoulders, wriggling underneath, bringing that chest towards the chin, pigeon-toeing the feet slightly, pressing through the hips. Releasing, coming all the way down, tenting your knees in together, feet out wide. Allow your arms to just rest by your side. We're going to bring our right knee into our chest. You can keep your left foot bent with your foot on the ground, or you can stretch it out long, whatever feels best in your body. We're going to take a half happy baby here, so grabbing your foot or your ankle, just rolling around a little bit with that half happy baby. And then releasing the foot, cradling that knee in towards the chest, and we're going to roll over to the side, bringing the right arm out for a version of a supine twist. Coming back through center. Swapping out the legs. Bringing that left knee in towards the chest. Hugging it in first, and then finding your version of a happy baby, half happy baby. Rolling and moving around on that left side, and then when you're feeling sufficient, bringing that left knee in and pulling that knee across the chest, stretching the left arm behind you, maybe taking the gaze behind you too. And then finding any last movements that feel great in the body as you unwind and set yourself up for your final resting pose, Savasana. So allowing the feet to come out to the corners of the mat, the hands to come away from the body. Taking these shoulders, I like to draw them in and create a little pillow behind my heart. Taking a few moments to set yourself up to find absolute comfort, feeling cradled by the earth beneath you. And feeling grateful for so many things, especially this body that gives us the ability to practice and feel good. Practice forgiveness. He was an old man sitting on the corner bench. I don't know why we just keep on forgiving our brothers and sisters, he said, looking at the people walking by. I suppose it's because when we do, we really forgive ourselves. Is there someone we're judging, censuring? If we look more closely, we'll see that when we blame others, we're chastising ourselves as well. If we're honest, really honest, we can see that often what upsets us is something similar to what we ourselves do. Other people can be mirrors of our own behavior. Yes, there are times when another person does something absolutely outrageous, and we can stand there, hands on hips, saying, I've been wronged. I can't understand how anyone would behave that way. But often, if we're honest, we really can understand. We have behaved that way too. Practice forgiveness. Judgment without forgiveness causes us to feel isolated, separate, and apart. Causes us to judge ourselves in the same way. Discover how much better you feel when you forgive others. Find out how much better you feel when you forgive yourself. Beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Slowly bringing movement back into the body. Pulling your knees into your chest. Giving them a squeeze and maybe rolling around on the sacrum for a moment. Lower back. And then when you're ready, making your way back up to seated. Bringing our palms together, thumbs to our forehead. We bow and we say together, Namaste.